Hello, and thank you for tuning into this week's Mayor's Update. As always, we have a lot of important information to share with you here this week, so please feel free to share this video with your friends, family, relatives, and anyone else who you think might find this information helpful over the course of the coming week. We're going to start off by letting residents know that we have an upcoming COVID-19 rapid antigen test distribution day coming up this coming Monday, January 31st, from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Polish American Citizens Club located at 171 Kendall Pond Road West. Those of you who attended the city's vaccination clinic last year, this is the same location. However, it will be a drive-up distribution, and there are 4 kits allowed per vehicle that comes to the PACC that day. This is something that we've done regionally with 13 of the area communities. The minimum order per the state contract is 15,000 tests. That works for Gardner. However, for smaller towns like Hubbardston and Templeton that don't even have 5,000 people, it just didn't work out that way. So what we did was we worked with our area communities who reimbursed the city, and we built the minimum order off of what their requests are and put in some additional tests for ourselves so that we can have a regional distribution day this way to make sure we're alleviating the strain that Haywood and the CHC have been seeing in the past couple of weeks for the amount of people that are looking to get tested. We are planning on having a second day of the test distributions as well. However, that has yet to be planned, so please feel free to check out the city's website and Facebook page for more information regarding those distributions. I also do want to thank Representative Jonathan Zlotnick and Senator Ann Goby for helping us set up this regional distribution day with the area communities and here in Gardner as well. So please keep an eye out for those. Again, like we said last week, the tests that we'll be giving out are the eye health tests that the state did give us around the Christmas holiday. There are 2 tests per box, and again, you'll be allowed to get 4 boxes per vehicle when you come to that distribution day. We will be checking IDs when you show up, or proof of residency. That can be a piece of mail with your name on it or something like that, because where we're using federal grant funding that was given to these towns that are participating, we are required by law to make sure that those obtaining the benefit of those grant funds that used to purchase these kits are from those participating communities. So you will be asked to show proof of residency when you drive up as well. This past week, I had the pleasure of attending Governor Baker's final State of the Commonwealth address in Boston at the Heinz Convention Center, at which he outlined several of his plans for the upcoming year, including several of the items that he has proposed in his budget for the next fiscal year. Included in that budget is an increase of about $2.3 million for Gardner in our Chapter 70 school aid, and a $200,000 increase in our local aid, with a $100,000 decrease in our expenses that we pay to the state. Now, what that means, for those of you who may not be familiar with how local finances work, is Chapter 70 is how much money the state gives us to help put toward our school system that we have here in our public school system here. It's variable year to year. There is a minimum amount per student that we're required to spend, and the state gives us this funding to help offset that cost that we're required to spend per student. Last year, we had a $68,000 increase, so the $2.3 million increase this year does go a long way in helping us meet what we're trying to do in our school system and giving students the most up-to-date modern learning environments that fit their needs in a 21st century classroom as best as possible. And then certainly the local aid that we receive in helps us in funding our budget year to year here in City Hall, at the DPW, the library, and all of our non-school departments as well. So seeing an increase in that is very good to see as well. What I mean by the expenses that we pay the state is the state actually does charge us for several services. The use of our membership in MART, for our Regional Transportation Authority, mosquito control, and different other aspects that the state takes deductions from our local aid amounts directly before we receive it. So while we may be receiving, and to use round numbers, $100 coming in local receipts, if we have $30 in our assessments to the state and those direct deductions, we'll only see a check for $70 in the end. So while, again, we do have a $200,000 increase in our local receipts coming from the state in terms of aid, having also on top of that a $100,000 deduction reduction in the expenses that we pay back towards the state really is helping us a lot financially. So I want to thank Governor Baker for the budget proposal he's put forward. That does have to go before the House and the Senate before it comes back to him for a signature. And we don't expect that budget to be done until sometime in June. However, to have a starting point at that is very hopeful for our city and our financial outlook. So thank you very much, Governor Baker, for thinking of us in that way. We do have a snowstorm coming up this coming weekend and potentially some other cases in the future. So we do want to remind people to sign up for Code Red to make sure you know when a parking ban is taking place so that you avoid any issues that may come with that in terms of tickets and towing. We only call a parking ban when there's a storm that's significant enough that we have to make sure that cars are out of the way so we don't plow the cars into the parking spots where they are on the sides of the street and are able to clear the street from curb to curb. We also do want to remind people that when there are times in which a snowstorm is coming, it's always just a better idea to get your car off the road if you are able to make sure that you don't have any accidents that happen with someone who may slide off the road due to icy conditions, any plowing in issues or anything like that that may come up that we may not anticipate. Parking bans will always be called by 8 p.m. in the evening. We want to make sure residents have enough time to get their car off the street. So do make sure you are signed up for Code Red. When you do sign up for Code Red, do know that you also receive automatic calls from the National Weather Service that we do not send out here in the city of Gardner. So try not to confuse the times. If there's ever a snow advisory and a parking ban called at the same time, the times may not line up, but all of our messages will say this is a message from the city of Gardner with that. We also do want to remind people that there is publicly available sand and salt at the DPW if you wish to bring a bucket and fill that at the DPW so that you can use some of that for your homes in that time period to help make sure you're not slipping on any ice that may happen in your driveway and your walkways at your own homes. So feel free to take advantage of that if you so choose. This past week, the Relay for Life of Greater Gardner had their kickoff meeting in our own Perry Auditorium here at Gardner City Hall for the relay that they have upcoming this June. Please keep an eye out on the city's website, Facebook page, as well as their website and their Facebook page for any fundraisers they have coming up, our annual Light the Town Purple event, and the relay that is going to happen back at the college on Green Street at Mount Wachusett Community College this year, as we had traditionally done in the past prior to the last 2 years. We do have a firm commitment from the American Cancer Society that we are having an in-person relay at Mount Wachusett this year. So it'll be great to have that back. We did issue a challenge to Fitchburg and Leominster that the city that has the most number of teams sign up from that city. I will wear the colors of that town for 10 laps around the track that day, and we'll have City Hall lit that color for the week after the relay. So if it's Gardner, it'll be orange, Fitchburg red, Leominster blue. The other two cities are doing the same thing as a fun way to try to promote people signing up for the relay. So please consider forming a team and taking part in that community event that we've had here in the city of Gardner every year since 1994. For those of you who are my age, it really has been a big event here in the city that we literally grew up with, particularly where I was born in 1994. So I've literally grown up with the relay. It's something that really has been a strong community event here in the city, and we're looking to keep it strong as we move forward. So thank you very much to Mayor Mazzarella and Mayor Di Natale for taking part in that little challenge that we have going on here to try to promote membership in that relay. The city clerk has asked us to let people know that the dog licenses that are annually due in March every year have been delayed in arriving, so we are asking people to please wait before you submit your dog license applications to the city clerk's office because we can't give you the tags because the tags have yet to arrive due to shipping and supply issues in the manufacturer's end of things. You have until the end of March to register your dog. However, if you do bring in your application now, we can take it. Just the check won't be able to be cashed until we are able to hand you that license back. So know that you may not be able to balance your checkbook if you pay it right away right now, but that is something that when the tags do arrive, we'll be sure to let people know as soon as possible. We ordered these tags in November, but again, it's part of that whole national supply shortage that we're seeing nationwide right now that we aren't able to provide the tag back to you. So again, a notice will be put out on the city's website and Facebook page when those do come in so that we can get people there. With that said, Councillor Durnalowitz and I do have a proposal before the City Council right now that would make the dog license fee for anyone who applies for a dog license that's over the age of 70 free. That's something that's allowable under the state law, so Councillor Durnalowitz and I do have a proposal that will be going before the City Council at their February 7th meeting to waive the $15 dog license charge for anyone over the age of 70 who does apply for those. We did see a large uptick in the number of dogs here in the city during the COVID-19 pandemic, particularly with our elderly population. And several studies have shown that during that time, many senior citizens purchased dogs looking for some form of companionship when they weren't able to go out and about in the community, while they weren't able to see their friends due to being in that vulnerable category of being susceptible to COVID-19 more than other populations and demographics. So we are trying to find a way to not punish someone for trying to help their own mental health during that time period. So that's our way of utilizing that state law and adopting that state law here in the city. So that proposal will again be voted on by the City Council at the February 7th meeting we anticipate. The Gardner High School cheerleaders traveled down to Dallas last weekend for the national competition, and they placed 5th in the nation. So congratulations to the Wildcat cheerleaders on a great showing, a great success. You know your whole city is proud of you, and we were rooting for you while you were down in Dallas, and we couldn't be more proud to see that out of everyone in the nation, you placed 5th. So congratulations on making it that far. That really is a very large accomplishment. We also want to let people know that there is a sign-up currently active right now for the Gardner Recreation Department for an indoor soccer clinic. You can check out the Gardner Recreation Department's Facebook page and website for more information on how to sign up. All sign-ups are happening online this year. So if you know any children who would be interested in participating in an indoor soccer program, make sure you let them and their parents know how to sign up and where that information is available on the Recreation Department's website and Facebook page. Lastly, we want to let people know we've talked a little bit about some issues that Haywood Hospital and other area hospitals have been seeing as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic for the past couple weeks. And one of the things that we feel like it's worth mentioning right now is that the hospital is on their last pint of blood here in Gardner and in Athol. And that's something that we haven't seen before, and we aren't able to do direct blood donations at Haywood Hospital here, and we get all of our blood in Gardner from the Red Cross in Worcester. And however, the Red Cross themselves do not have enough staff due to, again, the national staffing shortages that we're seeing to be able to host clinics in different various areas. So we are putting out an urgent call for members of the public to please go down to Worcester to the Red Cross and donate blood because the blood shortage is going to hit us. I mean, it's already hit us. The hospital only has 1 pint of blood, but if we don't have any blood on hand, that could be very tragic if we have any trauma patients come into the hospital for sure. So please consider going down to Worcester to the Red Cross, or up in Keene, New Hampshire to the Red Cross even, to consider donating blood so we can help out in that way. However, that concludes this week's update. Again, we want to remind people that the COVID home test distribution will take place on Monday, January 31st from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Polish American Citizens Club. And keep an eye out for the second day as well. We're doing all we can to try to curb the spike that we're going through right now in our COVID-19 cases in the region. And if you have any questions on anything that was brought up in this update, you can always feel free to contact my office at any time. And I look forward to speaking with you again next week. Thank you very much, and have a good day.